main takeaway, I think, from what we've been hearing is how corporate social responsibility is not just a wing but of a company, but it needs to be integrated throughout the business model of the companies, and that should be the new norm. So what we are striving towards, even in the Sustainable Development Goals, it's more of people and planet before profit. I think that is a completely sustainable model as we move forward, and I hope companies or any other organizations working towards that need to be supported, and I think that's the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Najjar.
Thank you very much. I think that stakeholders involved in sustainable development should work within a social contract together in order to complement each others. For this, I think there is a need to reinforce the partnership between all the stakeholders involved in the development process.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Alors, je voudrais dire.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, we have a tremendously urgent situation before us today. I'm convinced that in the future, and perhaps not too far off, we may be asking ourselves, how can we remain blind for so long on issues such as climate change, pollution, and other disasters that are taking place, and others that are going to take place as well in the future? I think that anything that is innovative, whether at a local, national, or European level, or a world level, global level, all innovations are welcome, are needed. We must change, and if possible, change quickly our applications in all areas. But obviously, we can't just do it any old how. We need to assess carefully. We need to start up innovations in a cautious, prudent manner. And then, if we realize that they're not working, we should be able to stop them. And if they work well, then we extend them and establish good practices, best practices, wherever they may be in the world, north or south. And then sometimes we'll recognize that, okay, the innovation works, but it could be improved on, and we need to add to it or cut back on it a bit. But this is an emergency. I'm really sorry that the leading power of the world has really denied signing the COP21 in Paris.
Last contribution.
Well, I think we have a moral obligation to see to that the decisions taken in 2015 are actually being turned into action. The words need to be to come true, but a moral obligation perhaps sounds a bit heavy, but I think it is important sometimes to spell that out. It is a moral obligation to the coming generations, and for us living in the rich world, it's about climate justice, and that we have actually used a lot of the life room of not only future generations but also people living on the other side of the planet. But I think it will also be very rewarding, and I think that this panel shows that if we coordinate our action from the private sector, civil society, and also governments, and then we will see that we can actually make change, and that it's actually, as we have said also within the agenda, the only way to see to that we have economic sustainability. We need to look towards social justice, and we need to respect the borders of the planet. And so it's the right thing to do, but it's also the smart thing to do, as we used to say. And
each of us play a role in that. Very quickly, we're at the end of our...
Simple, we have to be green and inclusive to ensure that we have a quality life for the future. That's simple as that.
Thank you.
I have in fact, one point, but mentioned in two ways. One is, for me, business has to change from only money-oriented, which at least is half of the perception here, I believe, to a value-added perception. And value is not necessarily always money. It's important, but not the only one. And for us, as a cement company, operating in local markets, that means that we have to be locally active on participation, on partnerships, and on local sustainable development.
Yeah.
And I think that is the
key.
what I want to bring here, but what also I get back here.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. I couldn't have said it better. I started the panel with saying the definition of development, and we talked about growth, change, and advancement. I just want to end by saying growth must be inclusive, change must be positive, and advancement must be meaningful in order for it to be successful. So thank you very much for this lovely panel here and my audience. Thank you very much for staying with us this afternoon.